their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
I mean, I go into the summers with all the motivation I need to get better. And that's all I can really do is get better. I can't really control none of the conversations. I can't control, what I can't control. So I try to just be in the moment, and work on things that I can work on. And that's just my craft. Honestly, I mean, stability in the NBA is a rare thing to have. So I've accepted that, and it is what it is.
Little D'Lo talking at one of his camps about the lack of stability in the NBA, and for him with 1 year left in his contract, this is Reckless Speculation Thursday to all who celebrate. And as we record this, we are, 8 hours away or so from the NBA flood opening up free agency. Doogie is with us from the 5 Eyewitness News sports team and the Scoop podcast for inside information about your favorite Minnesota sports teams. Boys, happy Reckless Speculation Thursday.
Oh, and a glorious one. We've got, as Phil just said, NBA free agency kicks off tonight. National Hockey League draft next week. Free agency after that. Baseball trade deadline August 3rd. If you don't like reckless speculation, the next month is not for you.
I am with you, gentlemen. I mentioned on Tuesday, too, maybe some Vikings news coming in the next month with Ndamukong and Sue getting a contract offer, so we can get to that maybe a little bit more in detail later in this segment. But yes, happy Reckless Speculation Thursday. I love this time of the year. So much will change, though. It's very fluid, right? I mean, some of the stuff we talk about right now at 10:10 Central on Thursday morning, June 30th, could change in the next few hours. But I will give you the most up-to-date information that I have.
Yes. Well, let's. There's so many places to go here. We're going to get into how close were the Timberwolves on Dejounte Murray. We'll get into some other stuff here. But now that the Dejounte Murray stuff is in the rear view because he went to the Hawks, you had been reporting some of the other players that they've kicked the tires on. I mean, Rudy Gobert's name was out there, and Clint Capella. Kind of feels like maybe that ship has sailed. So I guess, what do you think their plans are now? Do you they have a mid-level exception? Do you sense splashiness coming? Do you sense, because Chris Finch was pretty open a couple days ago, and you posted this to your Twitter account. We played the clip on our shows yesterday, saying, "Hey, the best way for us to get better is for the young nucleus," and he included Jalen Noel in that young nucleus too, with Anthony Edwards, Jay McDaniels, for those guys to get better. And there is a lot of room to grow there. But is that what they're going to kind of bank on here at this point, or do you think they're going to get splashy still?
I don't think they get splashy, Phil, unless something changes on the Rudy Gobert front. I'm on record going back over a week that I've always thought Gobert to Minnesota was an extreme long shot. But I'm also on record saying Dell Demps, now in the Wolves front office, is a huge Rudy Gobert fan. There is genuine interest, not just Demps, others in the Wolves front office, in pairing Gobert with Karl Anthony Towns. It's just hard for me to see Danny Ainge striking a deal, moving Gobert from Utah to Minnesota. So outside of that move, now that we know Dejounte Murray is on his way to Atlanta, I don't necessarily see the big splash. Now, there was a Memphis reporter who suggested that the Wolves and Grizzlies engaged in some dialogue where Malik Beasley would end up in a Memphis uniform, Tyus Jones sign and trade would land here, but Tyus isn't landing here. I don't see a scenario, even though he can play off the ball. If you look at how he was used in Memphis last year, him making nearly 40% of his three-point shots, really worked on his three-point shot last summer. He can play off the ball. There is a scenario where Tyus could be here with D'Angelo Russell, but it's just hard for me to see a scenario where those two are here. So as long as D'Angelo Russell is here, it's hard for me to see Tyus Jones landing in a Wolves uniform. Who wants D'Angelo Russell? I do believe New York had interest at one point, right? I mean, we've talked about that for a while with the Gerson Rosas influence, some other points of emphasis with the Knicks front office, the connections to D'Angelo Russell, including Leon Rose, who used to work at Creative Arts Agency. That is D'Angelo Russell's representation. But, they're getting Jalen Brunson, so they don't need D'Angelo Russell. If the Wolves really wanted to move D'Angelo Russell, do I think they could? Yes, but why would you attach any sort of sweetener to a guy on an expiring contract?
No, agreed.
You wouldn't do that. D'Angelo is still a capable player, even though I think he has his warts. I think he's closer to the player we saw in the Memphis playoff series, the final 30 games of the season. But, like, he deserves all sorts of credit. He was really, really good. He was the best clutch player on the Wolves through the first 50, 55 games. Heck, you can make a case through the first 50 to 55 games. He was their most valuable player. That's how good he was for the first few months of last year. So there is some goodness there. We remember how good D'Angelo was last time he was in a contract year, that final year with the Brooklyn Nets. So there is value in just keeping D'Angelo Russell here, then
Agreed.
maintaining all that flexibility 1 year from now, July of 2023, having maximum cap flexibility. That's why I'll continue here. The Wolves would love to add a free agent, but like they'd love to add somebody on a 1 year deal. Like they're not interested in adding money beyond next year. Like they would love to get JaVale McGee or Andre Drummond on a 1 year deal. Just not sure it's realistic to land either of those guys on a 1 year deal. There is no Mo Bamba steam. Do I think Mo Bamba has come up internally? 100%. But I was told this morning, for people curious on Mo Bamba, that like unless something changes, but as I sit here at 10:15 in the morning on Thursday morning, Mo Bamba is not going to end up in a Wolves uniform. Isaiah Hartenstein is another guy on their radar, but there's Clippers interest, there's Knicks interest. Like I'm not quite sure I see Hartenstein landing here. So they'll end up with somebody, maybe a second or third tier free agent, somebody like Frank Kaminsky. Like I was told Tim Connolly has some interest in Kaminsky. That's not a first wave free agent. That's way down the list of guys, right? But you're going to add somebody at some point, but they're also going to continue to explore the trade market because right now with Taurean Prince back in the mix, I don't have the full roster in front of me, but I believe they are at, is it 13 or 14 guaranteed contracts? This is including Wendell Moore Jr., Walker Kessler. So you only have so much flexibility, with that maximum being 15. Josh Minot is going to sign a two-way deal. He will not get a standard NBA deal. But now with Naz Reid, Jalen Noel, those were no-brainer decisions, bringing those guys back with the team options, less than $2 million each for next year. They never explored, I was asked about this, they never explored declining the Jalen Noel option than looking to sign him to a longer-term deal.
Okay.
They were always intent on just exercising the option. They can figure out if they want to keep Noel later. So, like, they know they have Noel under contract for next year, but they never thought about ripping up that option then signing him to a newer, longer-term deal. That never was on the table. But they're going to continue to explore the trade market. I was told Malik Beasley, like, there's not a whole lot of interest there, which somewhat surprises me, but like, I don't think there's a whole lot of Beasley interest. And outside of New York, like Phil, I'm telling you, I don't know a team that has been yearning to acquire D'Angelo Russell. I really don't. Now, if the Wolves are willing to give 3 or 4 unprotected firsts, yeah, San Antonio would have said, sure, give us the draft picks, give us D'Angelo. They probably would have worked out some sort of buyout with D'Angelo Russell, or maybe kept him just to be some sort of veteran presence, although I'm not quite sure that is a strength of D'Angelo, having him influence all those guys down in San Antonio. But, that was a scenario that was kicked around. It's not like Tim Connolly is married to D'Angelo Russell. I mean, unless your name is Ann Edwards or Karl Anthony Towns, you absolutely could be traded. But, like, I don't sense anything is super imminent as we sit here on Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Doogie, I did see Brian Windhorst. Now, this is on Twitter, and Timberwolves Clips, at Wolves Clips, tweeted this out, and then actually some NHL people got burned on some Kevin Fiala stuff yesterday, so take this as you will. But Timberwolves Clips tweeted out Brian Windhorst on the Timberwolves' pursuit of Deandre Ayton, and Windy apparently said another team to watch would be Minnesota. Minnesota's looking for a shot blocker, and it would not surprise me if the Wolves pivot, and with D'Angelo as bait, they took a look at Deandre Ayton. Have you heard anything, or do you see a situation where the Wolves could pursue Deandre Ayton?
Any big man free agent is on the Wolves' radar. Really, anybody that can play. So Deandre Ayton, free agent, absolutely is somebody that has come up at Mayo Clinic Square. I think it's way more likely, Declan, he either ends up back in Phoenix or in Toronto or possibly Indiana. I do know that Windy brought up Minnesota. That is legit. That wasn't something that was aggregated incorrectly. He did say just another team to watch in the Deandre Ayton sweepstakes would be Minnesota. I did check with somebody close to Ayton on Wednesday. He did not sense that the Wolves are heavily interested in DeAndre. But that is a name I will keep an eye on as the day progresses.
I love this. Go ahead, Judd.
Dukes, we touched on this on the bonus scoop on Tuesday, but the more I see this start to play out and think about the potential here, it does make sense. Like if Tim Conley slow cooks and slow plays things, right? Because we continue to talk about a year from now could present a golden opportunity. I know it's not the exciting thing, and I know that it would basically mean not doing a ton right now. But just from an organizational standpoint of development, that actually probably makes the most sense, correct? Just to allow this thing with the current roster construction for the most part to play itself out.
I agree. Like, how do you bypass maximum flexibility
right
1 year from now? That doesn't mean a big name free agent is going to take your money, but that also offers all sorts of trade possibilities. Yes. Like reading between the lines of the Finch soundbite that you guys played on Wednesday, right? Him speaking up, Ant, Jaden, Jalen. Like, that's pretty calculated, right? So, yeah, they absolutely, with the addition of, a middle-tier free agent and Walker Kessler, Wendell Moore Jr., may run this thing back, see what they can do. Can they build upon 46 wins? Is there more there? Can they climb the ladder in the Western Conference? But, hey, unless, there's some unforeseen, crappy injury circumstances, they should be able to at least minimum be back in the play-in tournament. So it'll be an exciting 22-23 season. Then, yeah, think about the excitement heading into 1 year from now, the summer of 2023, when you still have Ant, when you have Cat signed to a super max extension. So you still have your core in place. Jaden McDaniels, I think, has a chance to be part of a big three, but maybe you find somebody next summer that is really part of the big three. But Jaden McDaniels in year three, like I think his potential is off the charts. I think he is going to have a really good year this next year. So, try to build upon the 46 wins. I think it'll be difficult because I think the Western Conference will be that much better. So, like, to me, if you run this thing back, like, you're back in the play-in. Like, I just don't see a path where you are a top 6 team in the West, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, why
it's
not?
All dependent on if Ant explodes in year 3, then all bets are off, right?
Sure, they are. But like the Clippers are going to be better. Denver is going to be better. New Orleans is going to be better. Okay, what happens with Utah? We'll keep an eye on Utah. Does Portland have another big move in them? Does Damian Lillard play more than 25 games next year? So Portland,
the Lakers
still might
are probably
have
going to do something
there. The Lakers, will the Lakers be this bad still? Okay, now we know the Spurs are going to be really bad. Okay, the Thunder, I like what they're doing, but they're still a couple years away. Houston, kind of like what they're doing, but they're still a little ways away. Sacramento, who the heck knows? Although Sacramento still is trying to do some stuff. Do they somehow end up with John Collins? Like, Atlanta has to move some money. It may not be Collins. Maybe it's Bogdanovich or Herter. But, like, Atlanta needs to shed some money when looking at where they are at in terms of the luxury tax. So Atlanta is still going to do something. Would Sacramento have some interest in one of their guys or multiple of their guys? So Sacramento still could be intriguing, although I don't think Sacramento in any scenario is jumping over the Wolves. But, like, you can run this thing back and, like, just, go for the big splash next summer. Like, that's the way it is setting up. And, Judd, to your point, like, I don't know how you would pass on that. I really don't. Having all that flexibility 1 year from now, to me, you embrace that.
I do have a D'Lo question for you here. So this is
Reckless speculation.
This would be the forum on reckless speculation to just kind of, maybe you don't have something confirmed, but you heard a whisper about something, and we throw it out in a safe space here. It's Reckless Speculation Thursday, and I heard a whisper that D'Lo wasn't pleased with how the season ended and let some people know about it with the Timberwolves. I'm not saying that the bridge is completely burned, and I don't know. I'm sure there is some self-awareness there of he played like garbage, but they didn't stick with him. They stuck with a couple other guys who played like garbage. They didn't stick with D'Lo. They benched him for the last 6 minutes. But I've heard some whispers that it's not exactly kumbaya between D'Lo and the Timberwolves. Not that it can't be repaired. I'm wondering what you've heard about that relationship just the way that the season ended, and then some of the trade whispers that have been out there. He's tweeted about them. What have you heard?
What I'm hearing right now is the Ghostbusters theme on Droogy's cell phone that is sitting here.
Old school.
Wow,
Droogy,
that's a
way to
great
go.
appreciation for old
Good
movies.
for Droogy. He likes old people.
We might get a copyright, so if we could mute that, that'd be great. Thank you.
So anyway,
This is going to get flagged.
Yeah.
So anyway, on D'Lo,
Droogy brings down Score North.
We just got sued by a record label. Sorry.
I don't know how to silent it either. Jesus.
RCA Records coming right at us. Oh, God.
Oh man, let me see if I know his password. This will be bad if Dad doesn't know his password. All right, I got it.
Oh no.
Let me see if I can lower the volume. There we go.
Oh my God.
All right, we're good. All right. So anyway, Phil, it's never been kumbaya with D'Lo. D'Lo's not a kumbaya kind of personality, right? I do think, though, the motivation of being in a contract year, Karl Anthony Towns, even though I think it's been overstated at times how tight Cat and D'Lo are, there's a relationship. They're friends, but like I think it's been stated at times like they're inseparable. No, it's not quite that. But with Cat's influence, I do think he can convince. Gosh darn it!
Droogy's very popular. Hey,
He's
Dad, you
incredibly
better
popular.
get control of your
I gotta
kid.
hit the mute
What the
button.
hell's going on?
Who's calling your son?
Like, what's
on a
going on
Thursday?
here?
Silent. Yeah. Silent button.
And why is he leaving his phone around? Tell him he doesn't want to do that.
Well, 'cause he can't have
Especially
his
like
phone
when
in
he's
camp.
15 or 16. You know, those. He's going to get some texts he does not want Mom and Dad to see.
Phone off. There we go. Perfect.
Amazing.
Just don't know how to operate an iPhone. But like,
Congratulations.
Cat can, soothe over that relationship. Like, I think D'Lo would be motivated enough. Yeah. Is he pissed off that he got benched? Absolutely. Right? Like, his point is, we're not even in that scenario of playing Memphis as the 7th seed without my performance against the Clippers in that playing game. Right? So, look at my body of work, especially those first 50 to 55 games. Like, you're really going to bench me? So, yeah, my understanding is, yeah, there was some frustration there. But I'm just telling you, like, I don't think it would be a real toxic situation if D'Lo was in a Wolves uniform next.
No, and what leverage does he have, right? What is he going to do? Hold out? It's a contract year. He's got to go play his ass off and go make another $100 million after the season's over. So,
which, if he has a good year, he probably can. Heck, it may be here, depending on how the Wolves do and how he does. We can't rule out D'Lo getting the money he's just about seeking next summer, right here.
Mm-hmm. So, Dukes, you've talked about him as well as being a strange personality. I don't think you've ripped him, but you just said, "Hey,
yeah, he's not a
weird,
bad guy.
He's
just a unique guy." Yeah,
right. Do you think that personality fits what this team's power structure wants? Because I mean, for that position, you probably want a guy on the same page with you off and on the floor as well, unless it's just an absolute superstar. So, how well do you think that D'Angelo Russell and his slightly strange personality fits what Finch and Conley see as being their ideal point guard?
Well, I mean, roller coaster, right? But it's the situation where final year of his deal, Judd. So you just ride this thing out to gain max flexibility.
I'm saying
a year
long
from
term.
now.
I'm saying long
well,
term.
I mean, I don't see a long term fit. Like, of the three scenarios this summer, trade, extension, or D'Lo just rides out his contract. Like, of the three, I've always ranked extension for the money he wants, his representation wants. I've always ranked that as a distance third, right?
Yeah.
Of all the choices, right? I mean, that's a distant third behind trade or just his back on the final year of his deal. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. Like, I know Tim Connolly is on record saying, "Hey, I'm looking forward to getting to know D'Angelo Russell." I mean, that's, to me, that's word salad or however you want to frame it. I mean, Tim's willing just to ride this thing out. I don't sense like, okay, he wants to build this super genuine connection, even though that's Tim's personality. So maybe it happens organically. But, like, I'm just telling you, like, to me, right now, the way this thing is going to play out, D'Lo back, and then the Wolves move on next summer.
Yeah. I do have a list. There's a couple lists out there of just mid-level exception candidates. You've thrown some names out there. And I wish I could credit, because there's a couple really good Wolves blogs out there, and one of them mentioned one of these names that I didn't know that he had such a good season last year as a role player, but Amir Coffey is available. Is he unrestricted, or is he a restricted free agent? He's unrestricted.
Restricted free agent.
Restricted. Okay.
And so the Clippers love him. Yeah, they tendered him, so he's restricted. I was actually texting with his dad recently, Richard, who is a friend, and I just know the Clippers really want him back. And I don't know if you're presenting a multi-year offer sheet to Amir, if you're Tim Connolly, that makes LA say no. Like with Steve Ballmer, with Kawhi Leonard now healthy, like the luxury tax is not a huge deal for the LA Clippers, I don't sense. Unless it's a 4-year, $40 million deal, 4 years for the full mid-level. And would you offer Amir Coffey 4 years at the full mid-level? I like Amir, but I'm not quite there.
Yeah, he's actually become a really good three-point shooter over the last couple of years. It's the biggest thing he's worked on.
I hope people locally realize how good he was for the Clippers last season. He really took off. It's a fantastic story. He always knew he was going to be undrafted, but had to get out from underneath Richard Pitino. So he was always leaving. He was not coming back for that final year of college eligibility. Was always leaving, but knew it was an incredible long shot to get drafted. So knew he wasn't going to get drafted, but his agent did a good job securing a two-way deal with the Clippers, and he took off with it. A lot of guys sign two-way deals, and they get lost in the shuffle. I think about Daniel Oturu, former Gopher, who's now with Orlando in the summer league, was with Chicago's G League affiliate, bounced around, right? Was in the Clippers organization, right? Memphis had him for a hot second. Oturu's bounced around, and it may never happen for Daniel Oturu to get back into the NBA. I hope he does, but it may not happen. But Amir Coffey is a fantastic story of resiliency. He's going to get paid. I just think the Clippers have a lot of interest in matching any offer sheet that he might sign.
I should have asked this earlier, but just to throw it out to the room, now that we know what the price tag was for Dejounte Murray, 3 first-round picks, and Gallinari, who's 32, 33 years old, just kind of he's not like a piece to the future for San Antonio, but the 3 first-round picks were San Antonio's looking for future first-round draft picks to collect assets, and that's what they got. Would you guys have traded 3 first-round picks and, I don't know, I guess D'Lo? I don't know what the other piece would have been. D'Lo would have been the comp here? Would you guys have considered that? Did the Wolves ever consider something like that, to your knowledge, Doogie?
Well, yeah, they engaged San Antonio in dialogue. The Wolves were heavily interested in Dejounte Murray. More likely, just to make the money work, it may have been Malik Beasley, maybe Malik, and some combination of one of those smaller contracts, maybe Naz Reid. D'Angelo at 28, 29 million. Dejounte's at 17.
Yeah, the Spurs would have had to kick back something.
Yeah, the Spurs, the Spurs have cap space, so they could have absorbed it. That would have been the idea, is to send out D'Lo.
That's true.
I don't sense the Wolves ever came super close to moving 3 unprotected firsts. You think about Matt Lloyd, his influence now in the front office, his scouting background. That's a lot to give up 3 unprotected firsts. So I don't think it got quite to that point. The Wolves knew what the price point was. Also on Gallinari, the Spurs can now spin him. He's an expiring contract. Yeah. The Spurs are, in all likelihood, going to get something for Gallinari, whether it's now or at the trade deadline. So they're going to turn that into something. So you can look at it from that standpoint. Now, maybe they could have done the same if they acquired D'Lo, but maybe not as easily. I think there's a legit market for Gallinari. Not sure there would have been a legit market for D'Lo.
Yeah.
Vikings-wise, sir, let's go back to what we discussed on Tuesday. Ndamukong Suh, you still expect to get a contract offer at some point from the Vikings towards training camp. What do we know about the pursuit of him with Vegas, which also has expressed intrigue as far as that goes? Is he basically expecting 2 sort of simultaneous contract offers in late July?
Well, and there might be even another team that pops in in late July, right? So he could very well have options. We're not talking big money, but he will have a choice to make. So no guarantees he accepts the Vikings offer. But I can tell you, his camp expect the Vikings to make an offer. Has that happened to date? No. The Vikings have not made Ndamukong Suh an offer as we sit here on the morning of June 30th. But yeah, there is an expectation that before the start of training camp, I guess the veterans are on the field starting on July 26th, that sometime before July 26th, an offer will come into Sue.
Doogie, this has been a pleasure.
Speculation.
On the eve of NBA free agency here, on the day of NBA free agency, go ahead and empty anything else in your scoop bag here that you'd like to throw on the table for us.
Sure, another third-tier free agent that the Wolves may have interest in, depending on, do they strike a deal somehow with Pat Beverly? Do they strike a deal with D'Angelo Russell? Javon Carter. But again, that's a third-tier type guy, Carter, Kaminsky. Twins, they are bringing Terry Ryan, Bill Smith, a bunch of luminaries to Cooperstown for the weekend of July 23rd when Tony Oliva, Jim Cott go into the hall. I know there's a big party in Cooperstown the Twins are throwing on Saturday night. Gopher men's basketball, their players will not take part in the Twin Cities Pro-Am, so that will ramp up here in a week or two at Minnehaha Academy. A lot of good players will play, but unfortunately no Gophers will be taking part in the Twin Cities Pro-Am. I heard that Memphis first-round pick David Roddy after Summer League may end up playing in a game or two at Minnehaha Academy. The Twins were never engaged on Sergio Romo. He signed with the Blue Jays the other day as we think about the Twins trying to add some bullpen help, but they were not interested in any sort of reunion with Sergio Romo. Heath Hembry is another okay reliever right now on the market, let go by the Pirates recently. As of yesterday, the Twins were not interested in Hembry. Former Gopher Austin Hollins secured a 7-figure deal with Maccabi Tel Aviv, an overseas power. It's a 2-year deal. Second year is a team option, but it's a 1 year, essentially $1 million deal. He'll make less after taxes, but still, that's a pretty good deal for the former Gopher, Austin Hollins.
There it is.
Also, one more.
Information.
I got one more.
Whoop.
McKinley Wright, right? Fan favorite. I mean, he was always cheering on the bench with the Wolves, had a good year for the Iowa Wolves. Look for him to land with the Phoenix Suns in Summer League. I could see Phoenix signing him to a 2-way deal. Nathan Knight was tendered. So Nathan Knight, the Wolves have power there, restricted power. They tendered him a 2-way offer.
Awesome. There it is. Inside information about Minnesota sports teams. Happy Reckless Speculation Thursday, Doogie. Enjoy your weekend.
Absolutely. Enjoy the day, boys. Take it easy.
Get that
Bye-bye.
phone away from you.
It's
Droopy's
done. It's
phone.
off. Absolutely.
Good.
Lesson learned. Thank you. See you.
All right. Those scoops
Dukes.
presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company, the Federated Challenge, which helps raise millions of dollars, actually $44 million over the last 16 or 17 years, coming up at the end of July. And it helps Big Brothers, Big Sisters, which provides one-to-one and facilitates, I should say, one-to-one mentoring relationships for youth at risk, youth in need. You can find out more about Big Brothers Big Sisters if you want to become a big yourself. They're always looking for help at federatedchallenge.org. That's federatedchallenge.org. I need a smoke after that. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, and I'm going to start today.
And think about this. There's a very good chance that the Wolves are going to slow play this entire thing. So like a year from now,
I'm fine with that.
No, but my point is, a year from now, it's going to be Wolves NBA cocaine. Like, it's going to be flying fast and furious, possibly. Like, this is slow, and it's great.
You know what they say? I don't know who. My dad used to say this when I was a kid. I don't know who he took it from, but he said, Philip, only the disciplined are free in life. Show some discipline. And you can get more things.
I'm going to disagree with your dad right now. I'm going to disagree. That sounds really good.
Indulge.
Only those who get out of control truly have the most fun.
All right, we're gonna pause here on this Reckless Speculation Thursday. Mackey and Judd.